last video, in which I'm linking to, I walked through how to set up the Google Assistant SDK on my Raspberry Pi Zero W. Now I'm going to go through the process for setting up the development environment on with the Raspberry Pi Zero W, but using Visual Studio Code on my own machine. I don't want to do a lot of the coding right on my Raspberry Pi. I feel like I could probably, for one thing, Visual Studio Code offers a pretty powerful IDE for development, and another thing is I'm not as well versed in VI as I'd like to be. I'm no VI master, so I'm going to probably go with the fallback of Visual Studio Code. Also, I've been using it at work and really have been enjoying it. So I'm going to walk through the steps on how to do this. So for Visual Studio Code, there's a plugin. I'm going to do a remote. So I'm going to go remote VS Code. It's a package that implements the TextMate's RMate features. So this is using from TextMate 2 some of the same features that allow you to remotely edit files. So I went ahead and installed this extension. It also gives you information on what you need to do. So you have to add the remote port 52698 and do remote.onStartup is equal to true. So, and this is all in your settings. I have a Mac. It's a little different in Windows on how you access your settings. But in my user settings, I open it up, and if you can see, I already have this set up. Remote port 52698, remote on startup, true. So those settings need to be enabled. So the port 52698 is being forwarded to the Raspberry Pi Zero, and you have to, so if you want to connect to it, you have to go to SSH. You have to connect to it through SSH. I'm going to go back a little bit, but in this case, you can see the remote port is 52698, and localhost, which is this computer, and the port 52698. So with SSH, it makes this port available to my remote machine, which is 192.168.1.20 on my local network, and that's my user login. So if I connect this way and log in, I can now go to, I'm going to go to the folder. I had this already kind of set up where the Google Assistant code is located. I'm just going to do a cd to that directory. And if I want to, so now I need to install RMate on this particular device on my Raspberry Pi Zero W. There's some instructions here on this is the one I'm following. There's a few different things. You can do it as a Ruby gem. You can install it a few different ways. This way seemed to work the best for me. So if you do a sudo wget and pull down the RMate, so I have it on my machine now, and it has placed it in the user local bin RMate folder. And now I'm going to make this an executable. So just copy and paste here, and it'll make that RMate file executable on my machine. And so now I want to, now that I'm still in my Google Assistant folder, let's open that up again. And if I wanted to edit my main.py file, I'm going to do sudo RMate And as you can see, it opened it up in Visual Studio Code for me. And I can make modifications on this file. I'm just going to, let's see. And just make a modification just to show that it's updating it. Go ahead and save it. I'm not going to install this. I'm not going to do anything with Pylint for right now. And then let's go and take a look at this file and see if it added my changes to it. As you can see, it says this is a test, so I can actually make modifications from my Visual Studio Code and update it directly on my Raspberry Pi using this process. I'm going to go through the steps on remotely debugging Python files because that's the file type I'm going to be working on in my next video. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Take care.